Hello, what nuts, Humpty Dump Nuts, and we want the cup nuts. It is Thursday, June 13th, Canadian. It is 10:04 a.m. Canadian, 12 p.m. U.S., and this is What Chaos, presented by Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. From Edmonton, I am Dave Bean. From United States is Pete Blackburn and Sean DePaz. Hi, boys.
Hello, how are you? How is the old Canadian oil country?
It's great. There's a different air here. There's a different feel. A lot more working man. A lot more like trying to screw each other over on deals. I bought some land today. It's very exciting stuff.
Did you kill your brother?
I killed it wasn't really my brother, but I killed him. It was a really, really good time. Actually, I'm doing this and I apologize, I'm using my laptop camera because of a technical issue on my end, but I'm doing this show from the Nation HQ, Oilers Nation. You know our friends there. We do Oilers Nation every day with Liam and Tyler. But Aaron Bordato of Oilers Nation let me in. He helped me set all this up. And he was just hammering, like, where's HW? A lot of There Will Be Blood references. And I was like, I think you're the first person from Edmonton I've spoken to who actually gets the whole There Will Be Blood thing. I think that most Oilers fans are like, American Oilers fans are weird.
That is a good question that I'd never thought about. If, like, Oilers fans understand the connection, who don't listen to the show, the connection between being an oil man and being like a There Will Be Blood stan.
Oh yeah, I mean we've for sure gotten some like, hey, can ladies be oil men too? And it's like, oh, everybody is an oil man.
Oh yeah.
Daniel Plainview, if Daniel Plainview saw opportunity, he would certainly not discriminate or keep anything gendered. It's all in the name of being an oil man, about having multiple wells drilling and turning profits and producing thousands of barrels a week. It's fantastic, though. I arrived last night at 10 p.m., get a text from Tyler Uremchuk, says, I'm outside. I walk outside, big-ass Oilers truck. It says The Nation all over it.
No way.
They have I want to say it's Ford. Hopefully I'm correct. They have some like dealership partner. So they've got this big ass truck. I've been documenting stuff because I'll throw together some sort of vlog that we can throw on the What Chaos YouTube. And I knew that something was going to be waiting for me because I'd heard some murmurs. Aaron was saying that like everybody was telling Tyler, don't tell him what to expect. And I had heard a few little whispers of like, don't look anything up about Edmonton or Oilers Nation or Santa Claus or that I do that thing at all kind of stuff. So I didn't look anything up. I walked through the airport. There are all these like balloon displays of the Stanley Cup, little kids from all over the world taking all these pictures. Crazy scene just in the airport alone. Walk out. I did not need to ask which car are you, just a big ass Oilers car waiting for me. And I started like taking video of it as I walked up because I was like, this has to be Tyler. If it was not Tyler, it would have been a very weird interaction. But he rolls down the window. Get in, buddy. What a guy. What a time amazing. So far. I couldn't sleep when I got back to the hotel. I couldn't sleep. Celtics up 3-0. I'm in Edmonton. Oilers about to make this a series. The vibes are just palpable in oil country. It's fantastic. How are the vibes in Boston towards the Oilers?
It's pretty low. I would say the opposite.
Okay.
I don't know if there are vibes towards the Oilers at all.
Yeah,
coming out of
nobody gives a
Boston.
shit. I did see a guy walking down the street this morning in a Montreal Canadiens jersey, which was very confusing, being in Boston and also like now of all times.
I am
Super
not
weird.
happy to be alive right now.
Yeah.
Kind of energy.
So yeah, I think the vibes are pretty non-existent towards the Oilers.
Okay.
I will say, like, I'm very nervous for tonight's game. Not well, sort of for the Oilers. I famously I am rooting for the Oilers in this series, but like more than anything, I'm rooting for a long series. And if they lose tonight, this series is fucking over. Everybody knows it.
Well, we saw in the NBA a team take a 3-0 series lead, and when that series was 2-0, it was over. The better team lost its third best player, Kristaps Porzingis, and everybody was still like, at 2-0, this series is over. Mavericks don't have a chance. Shout out Brian Windhorst for absolutely emptying the clip on Luka Doncic after that game last night. But
him. And
nobody.
before we move on, like that Windhorst rant was incredible because he did it with the energy of being like an analyst, not being personal or being a hater. He eviscerated Luka in a very professional way.
I agree, Pete. He was like, you know how I'm gonna hit you where it hurts, the earth. Like real stuff. I'm just gonna say some real stuff. I saw a still that was like, this was when we knew he was gonna cook, and it was when he was turning to point to the various tunnels.
Yeah.
That
was such a good line. He was like, that's the winner's tunnel. This is the loser's tunnel. If you want to come out of that tunnel, like, oh my God, the best. Also, I do want to point out before we move on, the Joe Mazzulla, it came out that he showed the Celtics video of UFC fighters escaping chokeholds to kind of teach them how to be calm under pressure. And I was like, sounds like Joe Mazzulla could coach Evan Bouchard a thing or two.
Literally, the last UFC event had a guy get his arm snapped in half because he refused to tap out of an armbar.
Couldn't be Evan Bouchard.
Couldn't be Evan Bouchard.
wow. Yeah, I mean, no, Evan would have been. Oh, what a week for chokeholds.
I know.
The libs are furious. They tried to get chokeholds. I mean, I'm the libs here. I am a lib. But man, the reason I brought up the NBA Finals, A, because I'm a Celtics fan and I'm happy the Celtics are about to win it, and B, because all the series have mirrored each other game by game. The favored team won game one. The favored team won game two. Yet, after game two of the NBA Finals, I think everybody was very certain this is over. I think that people are pretty confident. I disagree with them, but I think a lot of people are confident that the Panthers have this series tied up. I disagree with it. I think that this is a lot different from the NBA Finals, where I look at game three, it shifts back to Edmonton, who we'll talk about what the lineups might be in a few minutes. Maybe we'll just talk about Edmonton a bunch more, or the NBA Finals. But it shifts back here. The Oilers have the opportunity to get their scene and their vibe and their matchups, perhaps more importantly. I don't see this as like a Panthers took a 2-0 series lead and now the Oilers are toast.
No, no, because
however, I'll say though, like to your point, tonight is the series.
100%.
3-0, they are toast.
But even if the Oilers escape with a win, like even if they're the worst team tonight in game three and they win, I still think this is absolutely a series. And, I don't need to see a ton from the Oilers. I just need them to win a game, because we saw in game one they were the better team. And you can say whatever you want about the Panthers game and it being so far off of what we typically expect from them, but the Oilers were still the fucking better team. I feel like there is a strong recency bias in this series, for myself included, where like I kind of have to remind myself to think back to game one, where they had a lot of great opportunities and like 18 high danger opportunities in game one versus 1 in game two. And all of the recent discourse has been like the Panthers are shutting their fucking asses down. which is true because they've scored 1 goal in the series, but it's also kind of a flawed or skewed argument based off of what we saw in game 1. So like at some point, I think it has to even out. It's just whether or not it's like too late, because like if they don't win this game, it's fucking over. They're not winning 4 straight against the Panthers. That's for damn sure.
I also kind of think, not to get ahead of myself, I think that like you're sort of looking at back-to-back must-wins for the Oilers because 3-1 is also really, really daunting. But you worry about getting the 1 first, and then you go from there. I think the bill kind of came due early on in this series where we would have expected with the energy and emotional energy expended in games 5 and 6 of the Dallas series and the quick turnaround having to go to Florida, that at some point the Oilers will kind of crash and burn. I was talking to Tyler about it last night where like at some point you thought they would run out of gas. They did not look like they were out of gas at all in game 1. And maybe it was just the fact that they had such a good showing and didn't win that then the letdown and then the night where they can't do any of the things they want to do ends up occurring in game 2. The biggest thing for me, again, we'll talk about the health of some of these players in a set. Like you have to get to the middle of the ice. You have to get to the front of the net. What impressed me most about the Panthers in game 2, forget any numbers or whatever they did, no passes to the house area got through. Zach Hyman was rendered useless in that game. How often have we said this? Zach Hyman scores every game. Like the idea of him being a useless player in a huge game is nuts this postseason. So the Oilers got to do whatever they could do. And I think that a lot of it was an adjustment by the Panthers that they were like, you know what? We're not going to be as aggressive in the defensive zone about jumping all over pucks. We're just going to have really good sticks and not let anything get through. So we'll see how that shakes out tonight. We've kind of buried the lead though, because not only am I in Edmonton, did you know, Pete, the Panthers are in Edmonton against all odds? They got off their lazy asses and went to Edmonton yesterday. They arrived last night. Great video from Elliot Friedman. I believe it was one of his colleagues who took it. But look at those lazy sons of bitches. They finally went to Edmonton.
Did they beat you there, or did you beat them there?
They beat me there, but in fairness, I got to Edmonton the first time I tried to go to Edmonton.
That's true. That's a good point. You also didn't fly from Florida, where do you see some of the videos from Florida? That was not like a little baby storm that grounded them. That was a real ass storm. But I mean, credit to you, 1 for 1. You deserve to fly a meter off the charts for you.
I can't. I feel like we're spreading a little bit of fake news. Did we? I don't think we ever got reports that they like had flights canceled or anything, did we?
Yeah, they got grounded.
Well, the airport was grounded, but I don't think there was ever an attempt for them to fly where they like had a flight canceled or had to get off a plane or anything like that. Like they just,
so you think they were even lazier than we thought?
I think they purposefully waited until later because they knew there were storms coming, but I don't think they like necessarily had explicit plans to get on a plane and then it got canceled or delayed because of the storm. I don't think we know.
We kind of buried, we not buried, but like our great conversation about the Panthers being. Pete brought up, he was like, aren't the Oilers in Edmonton though?
Yeah.
Like, didn't the Oilers? They just made a plan to, I think, leave early in the morning, Tuesday, right? Something like that. Was Monday game? No,
Monday.
Tuesday. I forget what game was. What
Monday
game
was
two? Tuesday morning, they woke up like men, like grown ass men, and flew to Edmonton. That's what adults do. The Panthers dicked around. They had a little celebration. They had a party. They did whatever they got to do, and now they're going to be all sleepy tonight. And that's the end of that story. It's all on them.
Speaking of dicking around, the air traffic controllers who dicked around and were joking about rerouting the flight so that the plane would run out of fuel and not be able to land in Edmonton. Can we get a behavior grade on that, or do we want to play the
play
the audio?
Yeah, shot. if you have it, an air traffic controller guy, multiple, they were telling the Panthers plane to keep flying around until they run out of fuel and then would have to land so they could not go to Edmonton. Sean, do you have it?
Yep.
I've got about a 2-hour hold for you, or whatever it would take for you to be low enough of fuel that you'll have to divert from Edmonton. And mention it to your passengers. Maybe they'll figure it out. Delta 8948, against my better judgment, when ready, descend level 290.
Have you got a score on the hockey game?
Game's tomorrow.
I thought it was tonight. I guess you don't. Okay.
Yeah, actually, the Panthers are just headed into Edmonton right now.
Okay, maybe you can divert them. Good.
I threatened them with a hold until they would have to divert, as I didn't see them there.
Good one. The last call you guys need is Gary Bettman calling the ACC. Good.
That's true.
Lots to work with here. I love how Canadian it all sounds. Fantastic. So good.
The fact that they name dropped Gary Bettman, American pilots would never.
It was the most Canadian thing ever.
So speaking grade A, behavior grade A-. Flying planes with people on board and yourself, like, that is literally life and death. The idea of air traffic controllers going Paul Maurice being Johnny the Joke Man is fucking insane to me. You're flying a plane being like, hey, where do I go? What do I do? Where do I land? How do I avoid? Like, have these people seen Breaking Bad? The guy loses his mind for like 3 seconds and everybody fucking dies. Like, thank God. I don't think that they were going to risk tragedy or anything, but I'd fucking play it safe there, wouldn't you?
As far as gamesmanship grade, A+++, entertainment grade, A++++, but as like a severely anxious flyer and a person who hates getting on airplanes, and also I understand we're not supposed to be in the sky. We're not supposed to be in metal tubes flying to all these places. I want my people who are in charge of running that shit to be the most serious men of all time. Men and women. All serious, all business, all the time. I don't want fucking rumpus time in the air traffic control tower. So
I hate when pilots are jokey. That
part of it, A- maybe, but the only thing is, like, the Panthers couldn't hear that shit. Like, if the pilots are relaying that information to the Panthers, that's way worse behavior. That's F- behavior. If they're like, oh, the air traffic controllers are joking with us. They wanted us to let you know that they're rerouting us to run out of fuel. I'd be like, what the fuck? So as long as the pilots keep that shit to themselves and they're just joking amongst friends, good behavior.
If I heard the words run out of fuel, like, you don't say run out of fuel on the plane, because what you're going to do is you're going to go out there and say, hey, everybody, and they're going to have their headphones on. They're going to take their headphones off like 15 seconds into what you're saying, because they'll be like, maybe this is important. And then you hear run out of fuel and you're like, look, we were already really lazy and didn't leave for Edmonton until way late. Did you say we're running out of fuel? What's happening here? Don't do that. Don't scare the people. Behavior grade A-. I do agree with you, though. Entertainment grade, I gotta say, like, I don't need to talk about Oilers or Panthers lines the rest of the show. We could just riff on airplane stuff.
I'm confused. They didn't hear it, though. Why? It's like, I feel like it's completely fine. Well, yeah, but like, they didn't scare anybody.
But so good behavior that he didn't then relay that. But in the first place, it should be only business on those lines of communication. And I bet that there are going to be some airplane people who are like, guys, air traffic control fucks with the pilots all the time. I don't want to know that.
Already got it in the chat.
Well,
somebody said in the chat, like, those guys fuck around with each other all the time.
That's what. But
don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. That makes me so much more afraid.
Somebody else in the chat made a very good point where it's like, famously, these people are very overworked and like understaffed. Like, if these jokes and stuff are keeping them sane and like awake, joke all you want. All I care about is that the pilot isn't making jokes to me while I'm on the plane. But even if he, like, even if I was on the plane and I found out afterwards, I wouldn't care because like most of these people were pilots in like the United States Air Force.
So Sean, so it sounds like
it's very much similar to me. Like I don't want to know anything about what goes on in a kitchen at a restaurant because the element of uncertainty whenever I go to a restaurant, like the what's the movie with Ryan Reynolds?
Free Guy.
I was gonna say it's very vague.
No, the one with Ryan Reynolds where he works at the restaurant and it's like they're the biggest like degenerates. Waiting, yeah. Like that movie will stick with me forever because people are like, that's actually what working in a restaurant is like, and it is fucking horrific to see what goes on in the kitchen. I don't want to know what happens in a restaurant. I don't want to know what happens in the flight industry. I want to have as little information as possible, and I want to believe that everybody takes that shit the most serious that they possibly can.
Can we loop back on Sean's priority being that the pilot not make jokes over the PA? So Sean doesn't want to be annoyed. Pete and I don't. Sean doesn't want to be annoyed. Pete and I don't want to be killed.
Yes.
No. I will take you making jokes
it's
if
not
you're
about being annoyed. It's about being scared. I don't want my pilot, because like similar to what Pete said, I don't want my pilot to have any personality publicly. Like I hate when I get on planes and they're like giving information in like a chummy way where they're like, all right, my name is so, I don't want to know the captain's name. I don't want to know my pilot's name. I don't want to know a single damn thing about them.
I disagree.
Hold on a second. Aren't you the guy that loves that Paul Maurice in the Stanley Cup Final?
Yeah, Paul Maurice is flying a fucking plane though.
He is guiding the proverbial plane of the Florida Panthers. I understand it's hockey and airplanes, but
exactly.
you see some value in a leader not being serious. So I'm surprised that not only are you okay with it from Maurice, you encourage it from Maurice. However, once it comes time to fly a little old plane, Mr. Sean needs his guy in a lab coat.
See, well, this is the exact same thing because we don't know how Paul Maurice we don't know how Paul Maurice talks to his team. We don't know how Paul Maurice talks to the people on the actual plane. But when he's talking to people off the plane, that's when he's Johnny the Joke Maker, and that's completely fine to me. That's my point. When he's talking to the team, I need him to be serious and about business. But when he's talking to the other people, you could be Johnny the Joke Man all you want because I think there's value in it there. But when it's I on the plane need to know that I don't need to know that you're making jokes until.
But even if pilots gave press conferences after flights, which would be rad, it would still reveal that your pilot has a personality.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Wouldn't it make you nervous?
I've landed already.
Yeah, but then we start to know them by name from their press conferences and be like, oh fuck, man, Dane Cook is flying my plane. Shit.
No, I would love it. If I found out afterwards that we landed and our pilot was just like the coolest dude ever, I'd be like, hell yeah, man.
So like if a pilot hits on the radio and has like a ton of charisma and is making jokes and seems like the coolest guy in the world, that would probably put me a little bit more at ease. But if like somebody hit the radio and was like doing a recited stand-up bit that was flat and like just clearly trying to be a funny guy, that would set me off. I'd be like, cut the fucking jokes, fly the goddamn plane.
Also, it
really does depend on the delivery and the execution.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously is a little bit of a gray area. It also is like, when are they doing it? Because if we're experiencing like extreme turbulence or like we're descending, like we're actively trying to land and they're making jokes, I need you to focus up right there. But if we're just in the ground, we're preparing for the descent and stuff like that, they're basically not flying the plane anyways. So go ahead, make your jokes.
A horrible fear when flying, a horrible fear while flying, or just a horrible feeling, is while the plane is doing anything for them to be speaking.
Oh my God.
Like if there's turbulence and then they come on, you're like, oh no.
Worse than that is when you hit you get some bumpy air and then all of a sudden the seatbelt sign turns on and you're like, fuck, I need an update. Like I do need an update after the seatbelt sign comes on.
Or the steward or stewardess goes and buckles in. That doesn't, because you're like, they know more than I do.
Stewardess is an outdated term. You've been canceled.
Oh, true.
I said steward. Excuse me.
Also outdated. You said stewardess. So you're canceled and you need to apologize publicly. They are the people I watch though. Like as long as the flight attendants are just carrying on normally, I'm not that worried. When the flight attendants feel like they need to strap in, I think the plane's going down.
That is,
and I full blown panic.
Well, it's like you're watching, if like the Oilers are down, let's say 1-0, and it's late in the game, they show it like a shot of McDavid, and he looks really frustrated. You're like, fuck. Well, I mean, he knows they're not getting one.
Game 2 was the first time we ever saw Kris Knoblauch show any personality, and it was like the worst game they've played all playoffs. So that's a little bit of a flight attendant strapping in. It like shit's hitting the fan a little bit.
Also saw somebody in the chat hit us with a Boeing Byram. That's incredible. Good shit.
Oh, that's also important. If they're on an Airbus or whatever, make your
Airbus,
jokes.
you get to do whatever you want.
If you're on a fucking Boeing,
on
tape your mouth shut. I want you locked in.
But Boeing, no fucking jokes allowed. That's right.
Let me ask you, boys, are you ready to stream tonight? There's a live stream and a watch party, as there is each and every game of the Stanley Cup Final right here on the What Chaos YouTube page. Are you boys ready to do a stream presented by Prize Picks?
Correct, I am. Yes, 100%. We will have special guest Ryan Lambert in the guest chair. Very excited about that. So
I'll jump in.
Why that DJ's normally in the guest chair? Because he's going to be sitting in DJ's chair.
Well, I think once the seat is vacated, it becomes the guest chair.
That's fair.
Like it is the co-host chair when we're both here, but once it's vacated, it becomes a guest chair.
It's kind of like I don't know. Isn't this how like the Pope works, where the seat is wherever the Pope is? Like the host chair follows DJ. It's not necessarily the physical chair. It's more
correct.
I mean, the host. Well, then the host chair right now is a lovely. I mean, the Oilers Nation studios are just incredible and impeccable. But the stream tonight, which I believe will go up about an hour before the game starts, the boys will be absolutely buzzing. It'll be great. And it'll be presented by Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. It's America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It's such a fun and exciting way to get in on the action. With Prize Picks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sport any time of year, any time of day. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. In my case, often even littler than 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stats projections, and you're locked in. Now, here's where I'm going to go off script. Tell you about goblins and demons, because I'd known about them for a little while. Not all of us did, but as a group, we started doing them for the first time during this Stanley Cup Final. And the word game changer is thrown around a lot, but goblins and demons are absolute game changers. Demons are a little tougher to win, but they got bigger payouts. Goblins, a little easier. Something like McDavid assists. We hit that goblin in game 2. We did not hit the demon that was Sergei Bobrovsky over 30 saves, because he only made like 4 saves because the Oilers only had like 1 shot on goal in that game. But it just shows all the fun that you can have on Prize Picks. It really is like a nice glass of wine to go along with the meal that is a sporting event. Download the app today and use code WhatChaos for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code WhatChaos for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
I don't know if you thought about this at all or looked it up, but it is legal in Alberta. It's legal in every Canadian province other than Ontario. So
I was wondering that.
You're still DFSing up in Canada.
Sean, mind if I tap in then? Because I'm gonna.
Oh, absolutely. Please tap in.
Today's episode also brought to you by Manscaped. If you haven't hooked up your dad with a Father's Day gift for this weekend, here's a reminder that it's this weekend and you need to get him a gift. Manscaped might be the perfect place and the perfect company to get you what you need, because your dad's got pubes and he's got to maintain those things. So they're the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Maybe your pops has had the bush since the 70s, and that's okay. Our friends at Manscaped have crafted the total package for his special day, Whether it's for the boys downstairs, his beard, or even the best pair of underwear out there on the market, Manscaped has his bases covered. Head over to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code WhatChaos, because we talk about the Lawnmower 5.0 all the time. It is a breakthrough in grooming engineering. You've got LED lights. You've got wireless charging.
The wireless
waterproof.
charging is game-changing.
It's got some heft to it. It comes with a great travel pack. It is the perfect gift for dad. So if your daddy's trying to get to a zaddy, trust Manscaped. Again, that's manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping with the code WhatChaos. Bam.
Okay, so game 3 tonight in Edmonton. I will be in the building. Absolutely cannot wait. I took a stroll around the moss pit today. It was terrific. It made me feel just like a true oil man. Kris Knoblauch appears to be Knoblauching for this game, which I don't think surprises anybody. He has made changes throughout the postseason. And now you got Darnell Nurse, who only played 4 minutes and 20 seconds in game 2, left with an injury. Evander Kane, who is probably some combination of banged up and ineffective, did not really practice yesterday. He had a lengthy chat with Kris Knoblauch before practice, right at the beginning of practice, about 5 minutes per Tom Gazzola, and then left the ice, which I saw that and sent you guys the Adam Silver, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy, meme, because it's easy to deduce that perhaps he could be out of the lineup tonight, whether for injury or play. He has gone 9 games, has Evander Kane, without a goal. He has not registered a shot on net in the last 3 games. Pete, we saw practice lines yesterday where Ryan McLeod was playing on the second line with Holloway and Draisaitl. That McDavid line appears to be intact, but do you think there should be big changes coming to the Oilers lineup, and do you think there will be?
I mean, I think there will be, because it's probably necessary in terms of how banged up they are. I wouldn't rock the boat all that much. I'm more curious as to like what the path needs to be for the Oilers, because they obviously got fucking nothing in game 2. The Stars have been extremely quiet, but so is the depth, and the depth is what like really shined through in the first half of the series against Dallas, and kind of a lot, like the depth is what pushes the Oilers from a really good team that's carried by the front of their lineup to the team that has gotten to this point. Like the book on the Oilers has always been, yeah, they got great players at the top of the lineup, but this year the conversation shifted to they got the pieces around them, and that's why they've gotten further than they ever have. So, like, as much talk as there's been about McDavid and about Draisaitl and Hyman and Bouchard and guys like that and how they need to get going, I also think that the bottom of the lineup needs to fucking show up, and like losing Evander Kane, or, you know, choosing to sit Evander Kane because he's clearly not himself, that's a pretty big blow. But like, look to a guy like Holloway, or a guy like some of the other guys, Nugent Hopkins, who also need to find a way to break through. Because if Barkov is going, and if Barkov's in the lineup and even close to 100% healthy, you can probably expect Florida and Barkov to do their best to fucking neutralize the top players on Edmonton. And at some point, you are going to need those secondary contributions, and they just haven't gotten them. A stat that I was looking at earlier this morning was they got 6 combined shots from forwards in game 2 and 13 from defensemen. 6 combined shots from forwards. That's not a Barkov thing. That's not like just McDavid or Draisaitl and these guys needing to get going. That's everybody else too. So they need contributions top to bottom. Everybody needs to be better.
Well, it's also trying to make plays in the offensive zone and just not being able to. Like, so many times they'd have the puck down low or in the corner or something and just try to get it to the front of the net. And it was basically either you go back and you use your point and maybe get something through from there, or you throw it towards the middle of the ice and it 1,000% doesn't get through. So completely correct. They have to try to manufacture something with their forwards. Knoblauch did say that both Kane and Nurse, for lack of a better term, are game time decisions. He said that everybody will just have to wait and see whether they are out there. In the case of Kane, if that's what he's giving you, then it's not a huge loss. It's a huge loss to not have a Vander Kane in the lineup, but you haven't really had a Vander Kane in the lineup this entire series with what he's done. As for Nurse, we've lamented Nurse's impact and how much he has struggled, and obviously when the other team scores goals, that's when Nurse is on the ice. A lot of times it's also been with CC. If Nurse plays, do you do the old 11-7? Do you bring Cody CC back into the lineup and go 11-7? Because I'll just say,
and it's probably
more
smart.
than anything, I don't think they can afford to have another game with 5 defensemen, especially in the playoffs where maybe it's a long overtime game. We don't like Cody. We actually fucking love Cody CC.
I love Cody CC.
We
I don't like Cody CC. But I don't trust him, but I like him. And I love him.
Yes. We fucking adore Cody CC, but we don't trust him. I think the play is actually 11-7. And maybe that means Corey Perry doesn't get back in the lineup. That's another thing, by the way, that didn't really pay off, taking him out for game 2. But I think you go 11-7. And then getting back to your earlier question about just like what is the path for the Oilers, my big thing with the series shifting back to Edmonton is just the fact that it will be in this building, and that's twofold. It's what the Panthers will have to deal with atmospherically, and it's also what Kris Knoblauch can do matchups-wise. And I was thinking this morning, it's like, yeah, we've talked a lot about how you get to Edmonton and you get Connor McDavid the hell away from Sasha Barkov. Good, great, perfect, open him up, let him go. But then it dawned on me, so then you're probably going to have him out there against Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk for a whole game when tempers are high. I don't know if I like that. I don't want McDavid out against those fuckos.
I mean, yeah, you can say that, but like, is Tkachuk and Bennett really going to go after McDavid and like be dirty?
I didn't think they would, but I'm scared.
And maybe, and like, I have a chance to look like a big fucking idiot knowing the reputation of those two guys by saying that. But you also like, they know that if they go after McDavid and they do anything to McDavid and they hurt McDavid, they're probably done for the fucking series, and that's a huge loss for Florida. And so, you know, would it be a bigger loss for Edmonton? Sure, but I don't think that the position where Florida is in, that they're going to stir up unnecessary shit. And we talked about this with Greg yesterday, where like, they are 2 wins away from the Stanley Cup. That is going to be their vision. It is not going to be getting between the ears of the Oilers. Like, I think that Florida has the confidence, as they should, that they're the better team. And they're in better shape in terms of their health. They've proven to be the better team through 2 games in the series. They're fully in control. I don't think they're going to mix things up or hunt for the sake of hunting, even though their hashtag is time to hunt. Like, they're going to play hockey. They're going to play defensive hockey, and it's where they found success all year long, and I think they're just going to stick to their game.
Anybody who is watching and is not yet subscribed to the What Chaos YouTube, we would love you could just smash that subscribe button. It is free for you, of course, but it helps with our visibility and it lets us do more things like travel to Edmonton, like go to Chicago and sit down with Connor Bedard, like hang out with Rasmus Dahlin, all the fun things that we've done, and all those things are on our YouTube page. Plus, there will be plenty of YouTube content on this trip to Edmonton, including at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm going to be hitting the old Oilers store. And I walked past there today, Pete, and boy, oh boy, I said to Aaron, I said, dude, there's just a fucking Sam Carrick jersey staring me right in the face from the window. And he was like, oh, buddy, they got everything. Aaron just popped in right now. What's up, brother? Hi. The Sam Carrick jersey that is really calling my name at that Oilers store.
That would be a psychotic purchase, even by your standards.
Just walked in and handed me Sam Carrick's maple syrup.
That's got to be
I'm driving
ever, right?
That's fucking awesome. Famously, head coach of the Utah Hockey Club, Andre Torini, also has a maple syrup farm. I've had his maple syrup before. Very Canadian.
Wow, not bad. I mean, I just wanted to finish the. I wanted to reset after that plug. the atmosphere tonight and how that could potentially affect the Panthers. Hopefully the place is going to be nuts. I know it is. But the Panthers, we have to consider round 2, Boston. Round 3, New York. Neither of those places are Edmonton. But for a team that has a reputation for playing in front of smaller crowds, and I know that the media that covered games 1 and 2 did say the place wasn't exactly buzzing. Do you think that playing in a real, proper, traditional hockey place with nutso fans who want it so badly could at all make the Panthers feel something they have not felt the last 2 years in the Cup Final?
No, I'm not worried about the Panthers being rattled. They have none of that energy to me. Like, they're not a team that gets shook by almost anything. They were down 3-1 against, and I know it was a different team. They were down 3-1 against the Bruins last year in the first round, the best regular season team of all time. That team has fucking balls. That team has adults in the room. They're going to be okay. And if, like, you're talking about... I was going to say, like,
the only thing I'll push back there is,
like, Matthew Tkachuk is going to be the most hated man in the building because of Calgary and like his history there. But Matthew Tkachuk fucking feeds off that stuff. If you don't think that that's going to fuel Matthew Tkachuk into having maybe his best game of the series, like, you're wrong. Like, I would be worried about Matthew Tkachuk soaking up every bit of hate in that building tonight.
I also think that they will be unbothered. I think more because of the last 2 rounds and that they played the 2 of the crazier, or played in 2 of the crazier American buildings with the Bruins and the Rangers. I don't know if I totally apply last year's first round to this year. I mean, you said it was a different team. I'll just more say it was a different position. They were the, hey, don't let us win, everyone's counting us out thing. Now, like, the time to hunt hashtag for all the actual hunting they do on the ice is probably a little inappropriate for this team, wouldn't you say? Because they have been, I would say, the hunted, even when, like, everyone thought they would beat the Rangers, and the Rangers were the President's Trophy winner.
Wait,
we all respect the fuck out of that team.
Yeah, but time to hunt isn't about, like them being prey.
They're the hunted. No, I'm saying, right. No, I'm saying they are the hunted. Time to hunt would have worked last year. They are currently the hunted, not the hunter.
No, I think it's just more like they're like the Panthers, and also, like, it fits their play style. Like, they do hunt the puck. They hunt on the forecheck. Like, they had Paul Maurice mic'd up, I believe, in the clinching game against New York. He's literally on the bench yelling, "Way to hunt, Chucky." Like, way to hunt.
So I'm saying,
like, he pushes that message.
On the ice, yes, on the ice, they are, of course, hunting. They are physically hunting people, and they play in a very aggressive style. I'm saying that the motif and the whole thing to paint the Panthers and the position they're in as hunters is incorrect. Because they are the hunted. They are the team that is hunted.
I think you're reading it completely wrong. Like,
you're
it's
reading
about
it as an oil man. Like,
yeah, like they're Panthers. Yeah. They're like,
also
everything that they're doing.
But they're favored.
But it's not about
they're
that.
Favored.
It's about them
about
attacking.
That at all.
It's like even Panthers, when they're in like a lion in the wild, is the king of the jungle. He's still got to hunt.
Yeah.
I guess I'm separating the actual hockey of it and the where they are positioned. So the hockey of it.
But you don't.
I think it was a
change
fun
your
hashtag
slogan
they
based
came
off
up with.
Of, like, how people perceive.
It's just because they're Panthers.
You don't change your slogan based on the way that you play.
You should.
I think it's just about.
You know what the Stars slogan is? You know what the Stars slogan is?
Play
Texas hockey.
Oh.
No, it's Texas hockey. They are a team that is a hockey team, and they were in Texas.
Honestly,
good hashtag.
The hashtag for the Panthers should be time to hunt with the H replaced with a different letter based off of how fucking annoying they are on the ice.
Also,
and that's used
because they serve,
because they're serving.
Yeah,
they serve the C word.
Texas hockey doesn't really work when they're on the road.
And like we haven't gotten to this point at all for the Panthers. Like, I know everybody complains about the Panthers being dirty and the Panthers being ratty or whatever word you want to use to describe it. they had the Sam Bennett thing earlier this year on Marchand, which was obviously dirty and obviously cheap. But like, maybe I don't care enough, but like, I don't look at the Panthers as a fucking dirty, like awful, cheap team. I look at them as endearingly greasy and like necessarily greasy, and it feeds into their success. And anybody who complains about that shit should recognize that you want your hockey team to be there, and it's part of the reason why they've gotten to the Stanley Cup Final 2 years in a row. I want my team to be greasy and mean and nasty, and so does like every other team in the league. All 31 teams outside of the Panthers probably look at Florida and their nastiness and say, we could use more of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a thing that teams are always chasing. And when you have the right combination of it, Felger brought up this point. They have a bunch of high draft picks who had to like kind of develop a thing that usually undrafted players develop, like the kind of edge to their game that like a Sam Bennett has or something. He was the 4th overall pick, like they've got great players who also have a bit of fuckery to them. Matthew Tkachuk, another great example of that. So teams chase that and they try to do it. Earmuffs, Sean, we've seen like the Buffalo Sabres at points say, okay, let's go out and let's get some tough customers. But when it's the wrong combination of talent and grittiness and feistiness, a lot of times that ends up blowing up in teams' faces. So this Panthers team, much like the 2011 Bruins, will beget a lot of lost organizations trying to chase it and not just totally having the formula right. And they're going to be slow and they're going to be mucky and they're not going to be very good. So shout out to the Panthers with the roster that they have been able to build. Speaking of building rosters, it seems that our Columbus Blue Jackets will be building a slightly different roster this offseason because Patrik Laine has requested a trade. The 26-year-old Blue Jackets winger who has been in the player assistance program since late January per Pierre LeBrun has requested a trade, and the team is very down. Both sides want to move on from LeBrun. Parting of the ways is, quote, the goal from everyone involved. We know that Patrik Laine entered the player assistance program. He had the courage to seek help, and he's still in the program right now, so we have to consider that factor, but he'd like to move on. His agent had conversations with the Blue Jackets about it, and both sides are going to work together and try to get that done. He wants a fresh start. It hasn't been a good time in Columbus. 2 more years at $8.7 million a year. Let's see how big that market is, but we know what the potential is. As I said, 26 years old. He had 6 goals and 3 assists for 9 points in 18 games last year. $8.7 million a year for the next 2. He's got a modified no trade. I'm sad to see it not work out in Columbus. I'm not super surprised though.
Yeah, same here. And the conversation shifts to like not where does he land, because I think that the number of teams that will be interested in Patrik Laine is probably pretty significant. At his best, he's a goal scorer, and every team could use goal scoring. It's more like, what do the Blue Jackets want to try to get in return? And like, what can they get in return? That's a big number. I would assume if they want anything of value or like of significance coming back, they're going to have to retain a good amount of that salary, like maybe 50%.
Yeah, I assumed, I don't know about 50%, but I mean, I definitely assumed they were going to have to retain. 22 goals last year in 55 games, so he's not far removed from being a really good player. And at his best, he's never scored 45 goals, but he's like that type of player. He can be a regular 40-goal scorer or 35-goal scorer the rest of his career, or at least the next, 5-6 years. But what does he become once he steps into a new team? And then he'll have 1 year left on his deal. So say a team gets him, he goes off, and then you can negotiate with him that summer. What do you give him? Do you then pay him a big contract when health-wise, availability-wise, it's been 2 years where he hasn't really had the greatest availability? I love Patrik Laine as a player. He's like truly one of the best goal scorers in the league. Easy to forget about for his lack of playing and the fact that he's in Columbus with a team that has not been making playoff runs. But damn, the first thought I had, I don't know how they would do it. I was like, this is the most Vegas thing I've ever seen in my life. He's going to find a way to end up there.
Any player that you've ever heard of, like being on the trade market, your mind initially has to go to Vegas. Like they'll find a way. Yeah, I mean, he's got to go to a team that has like structure and has leadership, I think, and where the attention doesn't fall on him. Like I think for Patrik Laine's purposes, he probably wants to go somewhere where he can be wallpaper, and not in a bad way, but in a way where he can just show up, do like score goals and not have to do a whole lot more than that. And like, I don't know, maybe a team like New Jersey, like that would be a good spot for him. A team that's like trying to break through and trying to add some more pieces to get back to where they need to be. And he doesn't have to be the star of that team. Like a team like New Jersey would be really, really intriguing to me.
It would depend on the rest of the veteran group. And I know that they're getting Taylor Hall back, but like, what about Chicago?
I just think that there's too much.
Still
like,
too volatile.
Yeah, there's not enough there. That's the point that I was just trying to make is like sending him to Chicago would be basically Columbus 2.0 in that they don't have
they
a lot
have
there. They have a little
but
bit more leadership.
They have veteran leadership is what I like. That's more what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some good high character guys. And there's obviously high character guys in Columbus. They're just a bit younger and less accomplished.
Yeah, I still think that he would be looked at as too big of a piece. I think that he wants to go somewhere where he doesn't have to be that big of a piece and can kind of blend in.
I have one. This is a bonkers one. Let's say the Evander Kane experiment ends in Edmonton with retaining. What about Patrik Laine skating with Leon Draisaitl?
That would be wild.
That would be
they're not going to
vomit inducing. So good.
Yeah, but also like he's not the kind of player that I feel like the Oilers need. Like the Oilers aren't struggling. Well, I guess they are struggling for goal scoring and offense in this series. But like I think the Oilers need a more rounded game than guys who are just all offense.
It's like when you're the Yankees and A-Rod becomes available, yeah, you got Alfonso Soriano and you got like you don't need A-Rod, but you're like shit. We can get A-Rod. Should we fucking do it? Yeah, let's get A-Rod.
Kane does have
took him a while.
Clause.
Kane's got a no movement.
Oh,
I don't know if he would want to go to Columbus. Love of your life sent us a super chat with a trade suggestion. Laine for Neil Pionk. Come home, Pookie. Who says no?
Oh, love that. Love that.
Pionk, yeah.
Pionk.
Pionk.
I don't know where I added that vowel or syllable from.
Pionk's still in Winnipeg, right?
You're putting extra respect on his name.
Him going back to Winnipeg would be wild.
Yeah, I can't. I can guess who says no. And Laine has at least a modified no trade. So we'll see there. Speaking of changes and people moving around, Sharks hiring Ryan Warsofsky as head coach, the North Marshfield, Mass native, and the Cushing Academy grad. Just everything staying Massachusetts as hell with the Sharks, I guess. Fine. I don't really care too much. You?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little unexpected, I guess. Like I didn't. But I guess it does make sense. A guy that's been there and is working with the group and is younger can probably relate to a lot of the younger players and kind of shepherd them in a little bit. I don't know. I wonder. I was gonna say like I wonder if he's like a bridge to the next guy when this team starts to come more together. But I don't want to say that like because I don't know Warsofsky and I don't know how good of a coach he is. So I don't want to kind of like cast that upon him.
Well, it's a big day for bridges to the next guy because the Blues have announced Alexander Steen will be their next GM. What do you mean will be? Next week? Next season? No. Alexander Steen, who played for the Blues from 2008 to 2020, will become the GM in 2026. Doug Armstrong has signed an extension. He will stay with the Blues through the 2028-29 season, but after the 2025-26 season, Steen will become GM and Armstrong will continue as president of hockey operations. Behavior on the part of the Blues to plan all this and have like announce all this, that is so weird.
It is weird. And like they did announce, like if you hold like we've got a big announcement tomorrow and you hold a big press conference, I want the immediate returns. Maybe it's my millennial brain. I need the instant gratification, but don't like hold a big press conference and tell me there's going to be changes 2 years from now. Fucking, we could all be dead in 2 years. Am I supposed to get excited about this? Good on you for having a plan, but I don't give a shit. Don't tell me now. Just keep.
I think announcing. I have no idea what there is to be gained from this for the Blues. Because what happens if the Blues?
There's a lot.
What happens if the Blues are terrible the next few years? What happens if next year the guys that they've been drafting are horrible, and you're like, you know what, Armstrong needs to go right now, or something like that? Like there's too much time for too many things to occur, and for too much information to present itself, and you're still going to be like, okay, well, everybody's now down on this, but presenting our new GM, Alexander Steen, really weird to me.
Yeah, I think that there's only like room for it to go wrong if you're the Blues. But I mean, I understand it from the point of like, you know, maybe the Blues are so high on Alex Steen and his future as an executive, which they clearly are, that they don't want him to be stolen from them by any other organization. But like, can't you make that promise to him behind closed doors? Or maybe like from his perspective, he was like, make the announcement publicly so that you can't go back on it. Like maybe that was the only way that they would have to be able to lock him up and not have him leave to go somewhere else. But still, you're right in that like a lot can change in 2 years. Like what if Doug Armstrong's like, no, I'm not fucking leaving. I kind of want to keep doing this. Like,
I'll jump sports.
What if they find out that the New England Patriots isn't that good?
The New England Patriots did this with Gerard Mayo, and they didn't announce it. They just put it in writing. It was in his contract that he was the next head coach. Bam, a year later, they fired their coach, and there's no process. There's no nothing. It's in your contract that you are the next head coach. Here you go. We fired our coach. You're the new coach. So that's all tied up and neat. I don't hate the thought that maybe Steen was the one who insisted it be put out there. But again, as long as it was in writing, you have recourse, my guy. I like Alexander Steen being a GM, though. I didn't really see that coming.
I like off the radar kind of guys who emerge very quickly after they retire or stop playing. Like this guy's a rising star in the execs. Like that stuff is very interesting to me because it makes me see players in a new light. And obviously I don't have like the behind the scenes insight as a lot of insiders do or whatever, but I like hearing those stories that like this guy's on the fast track. And it seems that Alexander Steen is on the super fast track and the super guaranteed track, which doesn't exist all that often.
Yeah. Did you watch any of, speaking of the Patriots, did you watch any of Tom Brady's thing?
No. I saw the clips.
I didn't see.
I saw the clips.
Yeah.
He looks not good. He looks very plastic.
Yeah, I don't begrudge anybody for doing whatever makes them feel and look their best or their healthiest or whatever. I agree. I don't think that he looks amazing.
He just looks like he looks too Ozempic-y. He looks way too tan. He is just like he's morphing into
if he's
like
Ozempic-y,
a Hollywood D-bag looking person.
I'm very pro Ozempic. I'm pro Ozempic, but I would think that Brady should not want to look Ozempic because he's the Mr. I do it my way. This is how you do it. Buy my supplements. I know how to do it. If you're then just popping that sweet Zempi, then we can't believe you anymore, Tom.
Gaunt. He's looked so gaunt for like the last 2-3 years. It's got to be Ozempic.
It's too good. It's got to be Ozempic. What do we think happens tonight, boys? What do we think happens?
Like, against my better judgment, I'm expecting the Oilers to have a good game in which they win. And nothing that we saw last time out suggests that they're even anywhere close to that. Florida looked so fucking good. They played a perfect defensive game. But, like, I don't want to overreact to one game. And
I will just say,
I do think the recency bias is there.
I'll just say the Oilers have put themselves in a position in which, quite frankly, the Dallas Stars put themselves last round, which is you play with fire a little bit. You can end up finding yourself in a situation where outplaying the other team no longer matters because any team can steal a game. Panthers stole game 1 of this series, of course. Oilers stole game 6 of the Western Conference Final. At a 2-0 deficit, the Oilers are in a position where even if they have a great game, funny bounce, whatever, they could be fucked. So this is the biggest must-win in the history of must-wins. This is the biggest game of the entire NHL season to this point. I don't know what's going to fucking happen. Especially given the lineup uncertainty and the availability uncertainty, because I do think that Darnell Nurse fucking matters. For as much as we've lamented his play style, he needs to be available and he needs to be okay. Because if it does turn in, like I don't think any of us thought that it was Darnell Nurse dragging Cody Ceci down, and Kris Knoblauch clearly didn't either. Because when it came time to yank one of their asses out of the lineup, he took out Ceci and Nurse. So they need something out of Nurse, and not having him, that.
I said this a couple days ago. Like, when we were on Darnell Nurse, it was because we needed Darnell Nurse to be better because he was not playing well. It wasn't that they like needed to get Darnell Nurse out of the lineup or they needed to like go away from Darnell Nurse. They need Darnell Nurse, and that's why we were begging him to be better. If he can't go, like, their blue line is already so unspectacular in terms of defensive talent that they're probably fucked. Like, which is funny to say that the guy with like the worst plus minus in the entire playoffs is like, if he can't go, like, they're fucked defensively. But it's true. He's just too important to them. And again, to the point that I raised yesterday, like, I need Connor McDavid to fucking pop. And I'm not saying it is fully on his shoulders or that like the series will be his to blame if the Oilers lose, but I don't think they stand a chance if Connor McDavid doesn't break through. And this is the point where he needs to break through. Like, I need a massive legacy game from Connor McDavid tonight, because the Oilers just don't have the capability of stealing games quite like the Panthers do. Clearly, in game 1, you saw the Panthers steal a game in this series. I don't think the Oilers have steal game capabilities to match up with the Panthers, so they need their best players to be their best players. And, like, maybe they get by with some depth contributions, but I don't see that carrying through the rest of the way with how good the Panthers are defensively. So I'm going to need to see McDavid and hopefully like the power play. The power play needs to get going. If they can get outplayed at 5-on-5, sure, but they need to start scoring some power play goals in this series for me to start feeling good about them.
Yeah, that was the other one. It was McDavid, Draisaitl, power play, and for Stu Skinner to remain not a story in this series. I will take all those things. So, man, if there is a McDavid takeover game tonight, then shit, we end up talking about this series a lot different tomorrow, because then it's all right, the Oilers have come alive and McDavid has come alive and they couldn't solve him last night. And when he turns it on, this is what he can be and everything. You see what all the talking points will be. This series is really, really, really not over. It can be tomorrow if these things don't happen.
It definitely can be tomorrow.
It's really like we are very close to talking about how like, oh fuck, I think the Oilers are winning this series.
Also, one thing that like kind of has gone under the radar, and like maybe for good reason, but the one goal that was allowed by Sergei Bobrovsky in game 2 was a really bad goal. And then the Oilers had almost zero chances the rest of the way. So like, for all the talk about how impenetrable Sergei Bobrovsky was in game one and how great he was in game one. We talked about the lack of execution, like shot-wise in game one for the Oilers and how they could have been better. We saw no real proof of concept there in game two. So I think this is an important game for Bobrovsky too, like in showing, like if he's great again here, then I'm really, really worried for the Oilers. But the one goal that got scored in game two was a super leaky goal on Bobrovsky. So maybe you get to him here and you start feeling a lot better about your chances moving forward.
That's a good point. I'm going to pull up right now. I'm going to pull up what Bobrovsky looked like on the road in the Stanley Cup Final last year. Because, again, it's not Vegas, but it is a crazy-ass atmosphere. Bobrovsky got pulled in game two, famously. He allowed 4 goals on 13 shots. And in game one, he allowed 4 goals on 29 shots. So, and then let's see. Game 5 allowed 8 goals. So he was fucking getting lit up. Not all his fault, but he was getting absolutely destroyed on the road in the Cup Final last year. Again, Vegas is in Edmonton, but Vegas is like some real, when they say, let me hear you, you fucking hear it in there. So
and
maybe there's a little like
somebody made a point in the chat earlier, like when you were asking, like, do you think the Panthers get rattled by the Edmonton crowd? I absolutely don't think they do, but where the value is them lifting and elevating the Oilers. And I think that the potential of that happening is pretty significant. It's not like that the crowd got to Florida. It elevated the Edmonton to a point where they can compete with the Panthers.
Okay, well, I've got a big day ahead of me. I am probably going to do something with the Oilers Nation boys. Going to do some stuff with some Edmonton places. But most importantly, I am going to go to the, I believe, Ice District is what it is called. And I'm going to hit that pro shop. Do you guys, what do you guys want? Should I FaceTime you? What's the plan here, you think?
I want a surprise. Like you certainly know my taste enough that like I trust you to get me something that
I usually buy things in front of you.
That's true. Yeah, we're good enough at like guessing what each other would buy or would want. So I'm gonna trust you. Don't buy me anything that like you're buying as a gag gift. Like, don't buy me a fucking Sam Carrick jersey. I don't want it. And you're in Edmonton for the Stanley Cup Final. Get me some good commemorative Edmonton Oilers
Sam Carrick jerseys.
Fuck off.
So Sean, he didn't say don't buy me 2 Sam Carrick jerseys.
That is
He did
true.
not say.
Technically, he also didn't say anything about a Cody Ceci jersey.
You would want a
I would take a Cody Ceci jersey. The chaos god himself.
What do you think they would do as I was checking out if I was getting a Cody Ceci jersey? Do you think they'd be like?
I feel like there would be a prompt that would pop up on like the checkout screen that would be like, "Are you sure you want to buy this?" Like you said when you bet on the Oilers to win the series after game 2, you got like a prompt from whatever site you were using, and they were like, "Are you sure you want to bet on this?" Like I feel like that would be the prompt for buying a Cody Ceci jersey.
I bet if I bought a Cody Ceci jersey at checkout, they would ask if like 5 was my lucky number or something. They would assume that maybe I had some connection to the number 5 and
even then
had
it would be
never
like, you
seen
want to
hockey.
just customize a number 5 jersey? You can put your own name on the back.
Is 5 your lucky number and is your last name Ceci? Otherwise,
speaking of number chat, Adam Fantilli changing his number, by the way, going from 11 back to 19, which he wore at Michigan and basically everywhere else. Did you know
I kind of like it, but I also liked
11? Luke Fox tweeted this earlier. I did not know this, and it's a very funny reason why he chose 11.
Give it to me.
Because he thought it would look funny and cool on the back with all straight lines, with the eyes in all the eyes and like L's in his name. And just having 2 vertical lines as the number 11, which is an extremely funny reason for a professional athlete to choose his number.
I think it worked. I loved him at 11.
I think it
I liked 11 on him. I liked 11 on him. I like 19 on him. It's no 86, but I'll take it. It's not the first Columbus Blue Jackets jersey I'm getting. That's all I can tell you.
How about this? A Pierre-Luc Dubois straight up for Patrik Laine trade. Send Pierre-Luc Dubois back to Columbus.
Oh my God. This is why no trade clauses exist.
100%.
They would
be so fucking funny.
Miserable. Okay, boys. Well, how about a like spike? And if anybody is not yet subscribed to the YouTube, please press that button. We'll love you forever.
Yeah, if you're in here and you enjoyed the show, even if you hated the show, please hit the thumbs up button right below the video player. We would very much appreciate it. Those numbers help us quite a bit, and so do the subscriptions. Doesn't cost you anything. Hit the subscribe button on the YouTube to the channel. You'll get, I don't think you get notifications. You can get notifications. I think you can set it up.
You can turn them on.
You can turn them on, and subscriptions help our visibility. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and we would very much appreciate it. Love you.
I was only able to peep the chat a little bit because of the technical difficulties over here, but I do know that the chat disagreed with my calling for the Panthers to get a different hashtag.
Yeah.
What if the hashtag was just like, we're the favorites, and then the little Panther comes, or just like expected to win, and then the little Panther comes up. I love putting in a hashtag that has a thing with it. When you hit enter, and then poof, comes up.
I think their hashtag should be like deserve to win a meter. That'd be hilarious.
No, the Oilers. No, I am calling for the Oilers to buy the deserve to win a meter the way the Capitals bought Cap Friendly. If the Oilers bought everyone gets into Rogers and they're like, hey, make some noise for game 3. Also, we just bought the deserve to win a meter. Let's go. Let's get out there and deserve to win. 10-0 Oilers. Oilers by $1 billion. I'll fucking
Hashtag
rip off my
meow,
Sam
meow,
Carrick
meow.
jersey. Oh yeah, like hashtag meow. Shit like that.
Hell yeah.
Time to hunt. All right, well, it's time for me to hunt at the old team store. Appreciate everyone for checking out the show. We'll be back. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully we have a series.
Stream tonight with me and Ryan Lambert. It's going to be a great time. And Sean.
I'll be there too. I don't know when, or I don't know how, but there.
You got that Canadian Wi-Fi. It might not work.
I got that Seth Jarvis Wi-Fi. I will be there in some way, shape, or form, and also, I promise, surprises.
Serving Hunt. Yes, that's the hashtag for the Panthers
that
now.
is
Yes,
Serving Hunt is so good. That is so good.
Yeah.
So
who said that?
That's
first?
what I'm talking about. Chat. Are we back?
Who did say that first?
I think Dr. Smackin gets the credit here. Yeah, Dr. Smackin.
Dr. Smackin, unbelievable work.
Hunt.
Serving
So
Hunt.
It's too late.
I'm tempted now to just hashtag that even now.
That's
I know that it won't
Yeah, I was
work.
gonna say
know that it won't pop up with the Panthers logo, but I kind of want to start using it.
No, here's what we do. We do hashtag Let's Go Oilers, and the thing pops up, and then we do hashtag Serving Hunt, and then just add a cat emoji.
True.
I wish we had got that at the beginning of the playoffs. It would have been. I think there's a chance that we would have gotten that into Florida Panthers
Lore,
like the Florida Panthers community. Yeah,
this is a real identifier. So if you are a whatnut and you tweet about the Panthers, got to start hashtagging Serving Hunt.
leave a hashtag Serving Hunt comment on the YouTube. Comment.
Oh yes. I agree. The Panthers are favored, but have you considered that they are hashtag Serving Hunt? And then which cat do we use? Do we just use like the yellow cat that's like?
Yeah,
I've been using the angry smirking cat emoji for things.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
What does that one look like?
Yeah,
a smirk.
I'll text.
I know that one.
A smirk serves that energy. We've had a lot of people complain that we talk about the Oilers way disproportionately to the Panthers, but we have not created a hashtag for the Oilers. So now we're a Panthers show, I guess.
Also, I will amend that slightly. I was talking to Tyler about this yesterday. I was like, people note that we talk about the Oilers a lot. I've only seen one complaint that we talk about the Oilers a lot. I think most people are entertained. I think the hockey fans are entertained by how much we talk about the Oilers. I bet Panthers fans are not entertained.
Yes,
because Panthers fans are probably like checking out the hockey podcasts because their team is in this Cup Final. And I mean, if they listen today, this was entirely about the Panthers and their hashtag. Oh
true.
yeah, Charlie.
And their flight.
Good.
And their flight, yeah.
And their flight. Oh yeah. And
Big Panthers show today.
Okay. Big Panthers show. All right. Everybody check out the stream. You'll go when? 7:30 p.m. US?
Yeah, around then.
Actually, wait, isn't the game at 8 p.m. US, 6 p.m. Canada?
Correct.
That's what it's been the last.
But that's what it's been.
Okay,
But
so
they don't-
7:30,
they don't drop
right,
the
but
puck until 8:30.
Yeah, I got you, brother. Okay, everybody check out the stream. P will be there. Ryan Lambert will be there. Sean will be there. There will be surprises. I will jump in as well. Can't wait. Love you. Let's go Oilers. Hashtag serving Hunt. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.